You're listening to Short Inspirations from Ralph. It's time to start living, part 2. We're talking about breaking out of this thing called fear, because excessive fear can make us go into hiding and we're no longer really living. Someone made an acronym of the word fear and they put it like this: false evidence appearing real. The word fear, false evidence appearing real. 500 years ago, Michael de Montaigne said, "My life has been filled with terrible misfortune, most of which never happened." And now there's a study out of Penn University, USA, that proves it. They reveal that 91% of what we worry about never happens. They are false alarms. And so we find that fear is the dark room where you develop your negatives. Fear will paralyze us from our purpose. Fear will blur our reality of a living, powerful God. And they are overwhelmingly not true. They are incredibly false. So what are we doing believing them and hiding away? Fear is the devil's playground. He mucks up with our mind and our thinking, and we retreat into caves. But when we're there, someone else is there with you, a monster, if you like, magnifying your worry and your depression and your darkness and discouragement. And they're all part of this hideous armory. It seems like over and over in Scripture, when people were in trouble, they would run and hide somewhere. When the Israelites were being invaded, usually by the Philistines or some other alien nation, in Gideon's time it was said that the people of God hid themselves in the caves and in the dens in fear and trembling. And so the normal reaction when people are afraid is to hide in a cave. And the same is true of us today. Not a physical cave, but emotional caves, psychological or mental caves of isolation, of loneliness, of hurt and rejection. We can retreat and go into our shells. Caves are not good places to expand into God's purposes for your life. They're not good places to use what God has entrusted you with. There are two great dangers with caves. And if you read the story in Joshua 10 verse 16, Joshua defeated 5 armies, but the 5 Amorite kings of those armies went and hid in a cave. And when Joshua heard that they were hiding in a cave, he commanded that a large stone be rolled in front of the cave. Listen very carefully here. The hiding place has now transformed into a prison. And if we retreat and hide in a cave long enough, it will become a prison pretty quickly. The monkey on our backs can become gorillas. So now the hiding place is a prison. And we all know what it is to be hurt and to suffer rejection and to retreat in life. And we all can pop into a cave every now and then. I have been in them myself. But my strong suggestion is don't stay there. Don't stay offended and hurt. That hiding place will surround you and try to block off the exit if you let it. But more change came. See, Joshua came back to the cave, took these kings out and executed them. And then he did something strange. He took their bodies and threw them into the same cave. And then he blocked up the cave with large rocks and boulders. And they are there to this day, the writer of Joshua says. So the hiding place became a prison. Then after a while it became a grave. Today is the day, people, to let go of what's happened in your life. The misery and profound hurt, perhaps even trauma and hatred, has to go. And if we carry an unforgiving spirit, an unforgiving attitude and unforgiving mouth, and we have a negative, criticizing disposition, it turns into bitterness, and then it becomes a grave to God's plan or his purposes for your life. A grave to relationships, a grave to your dreams and the call of God on your life. You see, it's absolutely clear if we think about that scripture in Galatians that God has called you to a free life. It's not a suggestion, it's a calling to freedom. Perhaps the Spirit of God is calling you to freedom today. 2 Corinthians 3:17, now the Lord is the Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. People, it's time to start living. God bless you.